Miguel Cotto versus James Kirkland fight is canceled. Kirkland has a broken nose, allegedly. And first of all, my question is, does anybody really care? Secondly, Miguel Cotto really wanted to go out in style in 2017. He kind of mentioned this earlier. Let me say this. Miguel Cotto hasn't fought since November 21st, 2015. And he really wanted to fight. And you settle on someone. And my question is, I mean, if you're really interested in potentially going out in style, you can't find another opponent. Let's look at a few facts. First of all, you had Guillermo Rigondeaux on the undercard. Okay. Got yourself a name. Secondly, you canceled the entire card. So it's no replacement opponent. And thirdly, did anybody hear anything about ticket sales at all? I didn't. When Gennady Golovkin fights, you hear, oh, ticket sales are doing well, or they're doing okay, or they'll say something like, the upper level and floor seats have sold out, tickets are moving fast, there's still some available, scattered throughout, or what have you. Anthony Joshua, Vladimir Klitschko, 80,000 tickets sold in X amount of minutes, or X amount of days, or what have you. We just increased it to 90,000 to try to break the record, or what have you. When Keith Thurman fought Sean Porter, tickets are moving fast, blah, blah, blah. Danny Garcia, when he fights, same deal. So, you didn't hear anything about this. Even when Saul Canelo Alvarez fights, they'll say something. They'll just keep everyone in the loop to say, here's what it is. You heard nothing. Good, bad, I mean, just nothing. Another point is that Miguel Cotto's fan base is in New York, not Texas. Now, I'm not saying if you go to Texas, you won't bump into James Kirkland and see this guy with some type of mask on or maybe even a broken nose. I'm not saying that at all. But what I believe is this. I believe that the tickets for this event were not moving well at all. And James Kirkland got himself what you call a paycheck, a payoff, to back out of the fight with the injury. The injury, if it's reported what it is. So I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying. So if Miguel Cotto wanted a big 2017 to possibly close his career as he wanted to, do like Deontay Wilder and bring in another opponent. I mean, you're the A side in this. People, there'd be some Texas folks who would have come to see James Kirkland, but you're the A side. So bring someone else in. But you didn't do it. Why not? I think we all know why. And I'll leave it at that. I got some friends in the DMV. That's DC, Maryland, and Virginia, if you don't already know. And I told them, you got a big fight coming to the new MGM Grand at the National Harbor there in Maryland on April 8th. So I'm telling everybody, oh man, you got something big. I mean, there's a big fight coming there. It's a unification bout in the super featherweight or junior lightweight division, take your pick, between WBO world champion Vasily High-Tech Lomachenko and WBA world champion El Canito Jason Sosa out of Camden, New Jersey. So I'm all pumped up. I'm like, oh, you guys need to get on this because the venue, the MGM at National Harbor, for boxing, it's going to seat somewhere around 3,500 to 4,000 people, which rivals the theater at Madison Square Garden. When they have the smaller shows, they have close to 3,500, 4,000, something along those lines. No more than 4,500. Let's put it that way. So 5,000 or less. Let's be safe and say it that way. So I'm pumped up. I'm telling my friends, oh yeah, I'll be there. Then I hear the brakes screech. So there's some bickering and some pushback to attempt to move the card to Las Vegas or Los Angeles instead of the National Harbor. And I'm like, okay, see, come on, boxing. Let's what's going on? So take a trip to Facebook and I see my buddy Mike, yes indeed, Reed, say that he's on for April 8th at MGM National Harbor. So I'm going to work on the assumption that the fight card is still going down there. So that would be great. That would be great. I know I have some folks that well, not some folks, but people I know, meaning folks, not family, who might be interested in that, and I certainly would attend that event. Rumor has it that, well, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully that card is solid and it's on. Now, Gary Russell Jr., WBC featherweight champion, he was scheduled to fight on the February 18th Adrian Broner card. They've been like musical fighters on that card. It's like, okay, what's the deal? And the WBC announced it, and then I think on like Fight News or something, they said, yeah, it's going down February 18th. Now, Russell says that he's going to be fighting March 11th. It says Washington, D.C. A source told me that that's very close to the Russell Jr. camp, that he's saying National Harbor. Now, if you go on BoxRec, you'll see Washington, D.C. And in Prince George's County, most people say, a lot of people say, well, I'm from D.C. What they really mean is I'm from Maryland, near D.C. So, what I'm trying to say is, if you go and look at BoxRec, for example, where everybody thinks BoxRec is the Bible of information, and it's not. I've seen there have been things that have been posted and then taken down and so on and so forth in the past, but let's operate on the belief that it's the Bible of boxing, okay? No disrespect to Ring TV or Ring Magazine, but and definitely no disrespect to the Bible. Never liked that term anyway, the Bible of boxing, but I digress. The BoxRec entry for Gary Russell Jr. says he's fighting Oscar Escandon on March 11th in Washington, D.C. Okay. Now, National Harbor is in a place called Oxon Hill, Maryland. So if you go to Vasily Lomachenko's BoxRec, it says MGM National Harbor, Oxon Hill, Maryland. So the safe thing to do is to enter Washington, D.C. for Russell, and it very well may be March 11th at the MGM National Harbor. But I see Washington, D.C., and until anything changes, I'm saying it'll be in D.C. We'll see. Russell, rumor has it, he didn't want to be on the Broner card because he wasn't even going to be one of the fights on Showtime. He was going to be Showtime Extreme, and Gary feels needs to be paid more than he's getting, and he also needs to be a headliner. So, excuse me, looks like he may get his wish. You know, there seems to be a disconnect between Gary Russell Jr. and I don't know, maybe one or some of his handlers in his career. And I hope it doesn't cost him more finances as it has in the past that he feels is much deserved. He feels he deserves more. However, he's at a lower weight class, and Gary Russell needs to get it together. I'll put it that way. You know, it'd be nice to see if Gary Russell fights on March 11th and he wins, and then he comes to MGM National Harbor to watch Lomachenko fight. Reason being is Gary is 27 wins, 1 loss, and his only loss was to Lomachenko, and he's been calling saying that Lomachenko needs to see him again. Well, show up at the fight card and call him out. We'll see. What would also be nice is if IBF super featherweight champion or junior lightweight, take your pick, Gervonta Davis, it'd be nice if he that's kind of like his neck of the woods. He's a DMV guy out of Baltimore, and it'd be nice if he showed up at the Lomachenko versus Sosa fight, especially if it's going to be at the National Harbor. He was in line to fight Jason Sosa a while back, and they kind of pulled the plug on that, and he wound up fighting for the IBF title. So he has the IBF from Pedraza, and these other 2 guys are unified, the WBA and WBO, and then the WBC champion is the kid that beat Vargas over the weekend, Burchell. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, how that division plays out. May 20th, we may get Felix Diaz Jr. taking a trip to Omaha to take a shot at Terrence Bud Crawford. Now, the Dominican is 19 wins, 1 loss. And that 1 loss was a robbery, or let's just say a very or highly controversial decision against Lomachenko. Peterson. And so most people that I've spoken to believe that the Dominican Felix Diaz Jr. is 20 wins, 0 losses. But the official 19-1. Now, Antonio Orozco is the favorite to get the shot at Terrence Crawford, but I like Diaz to get it. I mean, I think he'd give Bud Crawford a nice push in that matchup. So we'll see. An announcement should be coming soon. I like some of the things Top Rank is doing. Got another good one coming up, at least on paper. We got Artur Beterbiev versus Sully Barrera in a title eliminator. Main events, it went to purse bid. Main events submitted a purse bid of $180,000, and they were outbid by was it Jim? I think it was Group Yvonne Michael. I'm almost positive, and their bid was $251,000. So it's not a lot of money, but you can tell these guys want to fight. Well, specifically Barrera. I mean, he gets 25% of that $251,000 to Beterbiev's 75%. So we're looking at about $60,000 going to Sully Barrera, and $60,000. You cut that in half, and then take another 10 grand. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but we'll see. Now, Barrera looked exceptional, in my opinion, in his last outing versus Shabransky, in which he pulled off an upset. He knocked Shabransky out, and of course, Barrera also tasted the canvas in that fight. So, Barrera's 18-1, 13 knockouts. Beterbiev is knocking out everybody. Literally. He's 11 wins, 0 losses, all 11 wins by knockout. So, he's trying to get back into gear. Beterbiev had surgery, and he was out. But he's won 2 straight by early knockout since he's been back. And in this fight, it'll be interesting to see how Beterbiev reacts if Sully Barrera extends him into the middle or late rounds. It'll see, because he was off, he had surgery, so he kind of missed 2015, missed a lot of 2016, and then he got two early knockouts. So he's kind of been inactive, and then he hasn't had the rounds. So if he can get extended, how do you react? Very interested to see. Now, the winner of that fight between Beterbiev and Barrera, they become one of the mandatory opponents for Andre Ward. Now, listen. If Andre Ward decides not to honor the rematch clause, to fight Kovalev. I wouldn't mind seeing Beterbiev fight him. I wouldn't mind seeing Barrera get the rematch either. Because as shaky as Barrera was when he fought Andre Ward, at the end of the fight, he still lumped Ward up a bit. I mean, look at Ward's face and you'll see that he got lumped up. So the thing about Barrera is if he beats Shabransky and Beterbiev, then Andre Ward will be facing a totally different fighter in the rematch. A guy full of confidence. So we'll see. We'll see. I got a few other things to talk about, but I'm going to stop it short here. We're at the 20-minute mark, so please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Fight Journal, and we'll catch you on the next one.